Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me today on my tech talk on site reliability engineering. And that spans the actual 15 minutes to have a look together what it's all about. And at first, I would like to start with a quiz. And I would like you to participate to check on that question. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, or the question is, can you build a 4-9 service with only 3 nines of infrastructure? Who believes this is possible? Please raise your hands. Okay. Who believes this is not possible? Raise your hands. And who thinks this question is so weird, I don't know what he's even talking about? Please raise your hands. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. So let's start with that story anyways, even though I promise you that will be the last technical slide we will have on that session today. So the first thing is, let's talk about reliability engineering in general. What we have just seen, to make services more reliable than the underlying infrastructure, that's the key to reliability engineering. And the answer to the last question is, yes, it's absolutely possible to have more resilience and reliability on top of your service, even though you have crappy infrastructure below. And that's all about reliability engineering. That story actually started already 20 years ago with Google, when they introduced that role. But actually the real kickstart happened in 2016, when the book Reliability Engineering from Google was published. And actually people started adopting that journey. Startups, bigger companies, and some of the theories and ideas within that book, they proved to be true. Many ideas, especially for smaller startups, they proved to be wrong. What you can see on that slide at the moment, these are the topics which really became a best practice and became successful in the implementation. Number one, looking at the upper left, what you can see there is nothing a normal engineer would do in his technical tasks. But really important, and that's a topic of culture, is what the engineers are actually doing to embrace reliability for the whole product team. One crucial takeaway for you today would be, don't think about the 4 nines or 3 nines, but consider the idea to set up service level objectives within your services. And the idea of service level objectives is actually a key concept to ensure that your services are having an idea of how customer satisfaction is linked to reliability. So what you want to achieve is actually to ensure that the product team within the whole lifecycle, including the product owners, including your feature developers, but also including everyone in the operation side, understand what an unreliable service will make unsatisfied customers, and that's something you don't want. Yeah? And therefore, you have different approaches to achieve that. Number one, you need to make these SLOs transparent, measurable, automated, so everyone can see them. Second thing is, whenever you have understood that piece, convince the teams to, on the one hand, implement techniques and invest time to make these services more reliable. Because even though if you have great business features, it does not make sense if they are not available or if they are responding very slow. And the other topic is, we as an organization, we need to ensure to have a culture of engineers being able to embrace that idea, being able to strive for reliability, but also other kinds of engineering disciplines. Having that said, let's have a look how engineering culture at Deutsche Bank looks like. The first topic, and which is really important, is to have communities of practice. It's not about training, it's all about having people doing hands-on new technologies. really implement them, run POCs, and get the hands-on activities. I'm not a friend of normal trainings because whenever you provide trainings to the organization, they do nothing afterwards, and it will never go further. Therefore, set up community of practices inside your organization, enable the engineers to thrive, and give them the capabilities to execute. The second thing is similarly important. I've seen many companies in which you have actually set up CIO career paths. You have become more senior in regards of your career whenever you have owned more budget or you have more people you manage. But what's really important is to ensure that also inside your organization you have a path where engineers can reflect on their capabilities, especially on their technical capabilities, and ensure that they can thrive and develop their skill sets, and also being honored for that by, for example, using promotions. And last but not least, I believe as a bank, we simply can't be better in technology than technology companies. So therefore, we need to have strategic partnerships. And this is how we are actually working now with Google and NVIDIA for the next 5 years in order to focus on cloud computing and artificial intelligence. Having that said, let's have a look into how our career development framework looks like. These are the soft factors you can see. Design, things, engage, influence, achieve. It's all about ideas, how engineers can influence their way of working, and also influence other teams and convince other engineers and other departments not to silo their own solutions, but to collaborate inside but also outside the company. One key aspect of this is actually open source, where people are collaborating worldwide on software. Based on that, I believe these building blocks are crucial factors also for SREs to, let's say, to win and succeed. And if you look into the different dimensions, the framework is based on a research of high-performance engineering behaviors. And it defines individual maturity levels for the engineers. And if the SRE, mentioned before, would not work in an environment with high maturity levels, all the disciplines would not work out. So therefore, one key belief from my side, and that's something I would like to give you everyone today, is that SREs emergent from culture, targeting on high cooperation in which risks are communicated and shared. Failures are accepted in the company and embraced. And also novelty is something which gets implemented. Other 4 dimensions, they are focusing on technical capabilities. You can see here, that's something I would skip for today. But let's start with the cloud journey. How does it look like at Deutsche Bank? I think that picture is quite famous. Most people have seen it. And I'm not sure really if the project managers below, if they actually survived or if they're already dead in that legacy software. But I think that cloud journey you can see on top is for bigger corporations and companies quite normal. And what I believe is that something working in such mission-critical situations with such a dragon, don't change your running system, don't change your winning team, don't try to implement new roles. But if you have some grassroots project like the one below, with birds flying around, and you can start something from scratch, like an online banking front end at Deutsche Bank, that's something I would suggest you can try to set up a new operating model, a new role. Yeah. So another key message I would give you, if you're already inside your cloud journey, if you're inside your cloud adoption, and you're fighting with legacy software, don't try to change your operating model. Yeah, but if you have something new, go for it, try to implement that. And this is how we are implementing the new operating model in Deutsche Bank, in private bank, for the grassroots projects. We have centers of expertise which are working with dedicated people on innovation and definition of standards. The tribes, the vertical alignments, they are there to define what needs to be implemented to be in the competition with other companies. And you have the different squads which are then working in the tribes to ensure that the different topics are actually delivered. The center of expertise is more or less a chapter function to ensure that all the people of the same profession, like the SREs, are working with the same approaches, with the same standards and concepts. Two takeaways from here out of our experience. Number one, don't communicate that approach in a big bang way for, let's say, a whole domain or a whole department. That's not working out. We did that, and what happened is, after the announcement, nothing changed. Everything stood the same as before. Processes did not change. The people worked the same way as before. Yeah? The second thing as a key takeaway, the SREs, they are not siloed. Consider them to work with all the different functions. Work with the product owner, collaborate with feature engineers, and challenge your solution architects in what they are designing. And having that said, even though we are looking into, for example, processes like ITIL for IT service operations, send your SREs in, collaborate, and check for example, automation and potential to improve. By the way, during our SRE hiring process, I learned that many companies actually seem to have renamed service operations simply to site reliability engineer. That's not the idea. So number three, don't rename your service operations functions into SRE. Not recommended. Instead of the Big Bang approach, I would recommend to go follow. So, okay. Next slide is not showing. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what you can see here is actually a dinosaur slide. That's something I would like to see in each tech talk normally, so I'm also propagating that to have a dinosaur in each tech talk. And what we had to learn step by step is to build, measure, and learn. You can see here an evolutionary process. And instead to go the Big Bang approach as mentioned, simply step by step adopt the ideas of SRE inside smaller teams. Do many retros, consider how you can improve, consider what improvements the SRE could deliver, and also plan for longer planning periods. Don't go for, let's say, a sprint with 2 weeks or even 1 month. You need to consider invest. Yeah? And also, inside that journey, please embrace your risk and also accept the possibility to fail and also to stand up, learn from the failures and improve. Yeah? That's the important takeout here. That's also one of our so-called high-performance engineering behaviors to, on the one hand, build something, but measure the results and learn from it so we can rebuild and fail fast. Having that said, these are topics which you simply, as an SRE, can't deliver within a short term. Yeah, so what I believe is, looking at the hype cycle, there are topics which you need to, as a company, deliver within quarters, maybe even 1.5 years. And looking at the topics, for example, we have decided to focus on and invest into chaos engineering. The name sounds really fancy, chaos engineering, but it's absolutely at the peak of the inflated expectations, as you can see. So which means actually, normally, based on the Gartner slide, we expect that we will land on concrete, maybe in 1 or 2 quarters, and have the learning that what we did actually did not make sense at all. Yeah? But we still decided to focus and invest into that because we believe in the idea behind. So chaos engineering is actually the idea to execute experiments on reliability hypotheses, and we formulate them against our tech stack and its services to verify if they are true or not. Yeah? It's actually what we do in science regularly. And my team and my management, we considered it an invest worth trying out. So for a duration of this next 6 months, we have installed a chaos framework, we have executed different experiments, prepared a so-called game day, and executed these experiments. Some of the findings, they were actually no-brainers, quite easy to understand. Some of them were really surprising, and looking into your cloud text structure and also future tech stacks, the more complicated they become, the more likely is that you are not able to grasp the different dependencies and the different constellations you may face. And therefore, in that case, doing experiments is the only way to identify issues before they impact your production. Yeah? And having that said, in order to achieve that, in order to unleash that, it simply takes time. So to the managers inside that round here, consider SRE to be a multi-year invest. That's something where you have a standardized J-curve, you can see here, which means actually that you need to spend a lot of time until the value can be achieved. And that slide here, that chart here is from the DORA research from 2022, where SRE was considered inside the DORA research for the first time. And that's something, be prepared. SRE to be something you need to actively invest. It's not a cost center. I would pitch everyone to try that out because people have that need, and therefore convince your people to treat it like an invest with a long-term goal and long-term objective. Having that said, for everyone who joined later, a short summary of the learnings we had, and I would like to see that you are not going through the same learnings we had. Number one, SRE is not operations and not any role with a new name. So stop renaming your people. SRE is emergent from culture. Please consider that. I would believe at least 50% of the SRE time is to convince your product team that reliability is important. Don't treat SRE as a silo. Collaborate with other teams. You will never succeed if you're siloing your SRE role. Also, SRE is a build, measure, learn journey. Change gradually, learn from them, and also, based on the findings, go further. And don't read the Google SRE book. It's outdated. Not everyone wants the Google SRE. Go your own journey, check for your own requirements, and based on them, implement your SRE journey. And last but not least, consider SRE to be an invest, not a cost center. And just for a hint on the technical side, if you want to start that journey, number one, consider availability not the only key feature of your service. If it's available, it's nice, but you don't know if it's responsive. You don't know if it has loads of 500 errors or any response which makes no sense, right? Number two, focus on your midterm goals for innovation. SRE is the capacity and the resource to help you drive that. And last but not least, get started by looking into instant responses. They are key learnings you as an SRE want to focus on to improve. And incidents are really expensive, and therefore learning from them and getting the most of these incidents is really crucial. Having that said, thank you very much for today. And if you are interested inside any jobs within Deutsche Bank for SRE, we are hiring, and you can scan that code, hit me up on LinkedIn, and go with us the SRE journey. Thank you very much, and hope you liked it. Are there any questions? I think we have 1 minute left. Big sorry for my voice. A little bit, I got a cold, but still I wanted to be here today. Okay. If not, handing over. Thank you.